Welcome to today's Daily Rundown. I am your host, Anna. This podcast is researched and produced by Etienne Newman, senior software engineer from Université Laval, based in Calgary, Alberta. Today, we perform a forensic autopsy on the geopolitical backfire and the death of the Turing test this Monday, May 25, 2026. The baseline of human capability is changing at machine speed. Over the weekend, Google DeepMind's AlphaProof Nexus successfully solved 9 open mathematical problems that have stumped human experts for over half a century. We are no longer accelerating human labor. We are actively generating original scientific discovery. Simultaneously, the geopolitical war for the frontier is collapsing. Washington's attempt to choke China's AI progress via hardware blockades has spectacularly backfired. Operating on homegrown Huawei supernodes, Chinese lab DeepSeek has permanently slashed the price of its Frontier Phi 4 Pro model by 75%, severely undercutting American labs and proving that sanctions did not slow Chinese AI, they subsidized it. But inside the corporate enterprise, the pressure is breaking human morale. A massive new study reveals that nearly 80% of Gen Z workers are actively lying about their AI skills, caught in a toxic cycle of faking productivity while secretly undermining the technology out of fear. Before we dive into the data, I have a brief strategic request. The algorithms governing the app you are listening on right now dictate what intelligence reaches your feed. To ensure you never miss our most critical forensic autopsies, please hit follow or subscribe to the DJAMGAMIND channel on Apple Podcasts to always listen completely ads-free. It takes just 1 second, but it is the most effective way to help us scale this independent research. Today's episode is brought to you by IREA. When 63% of your workforce is lying about their AI usage, your organization needs flawless technical intelligence and management. A special thank you to IREA for sponsoring today's forensic briefing. Let's unravel the day.
Before we begin today's briefing, a note for the brands listening. If you want to reach the true architects of the AI revolution, the technical leaders actually building the stack, not just the tourists, DJAMGAMIND offers select premium partnership opportunities. Let us position your product directly in front of the ultimate technical buyer. Visit jamgamind.com/partners.
So this morning, a machine essentially solved a 56-year-old mathematical paradox for, less than the cost of your morning coffee.
Right. And then what? By lunch?
Yeah, by lunch, a major corporation had to completely ground its billion-dollar autonomous vehicle fleet because the cars couldn't figure out how to drive through a puddle.
Which is just the ultimate whiplash, honestly.
Exactly. So, welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're basically performing a forensic autopsy on the news of May 25, 2026.
And there's a lot to unpack.
There really is. We are tracking this massive systemic collision. We're looking at the permanent death of the Turing test, a spectacular geopolitical backfire in Washington, and honestly, a creeping psychological crisis right inside your own office.
Yeah. Caught right in the middle of all this is you, the global workforce, just, trying to figure out how to survive the week.
Right. So let's start with the math, because I feel like this fundamentally breaks how we've understood AI up to this point.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for years, the running joke was that a large language model could, write you this beautiful sonnet, but it would confidently hallucinate the answer to 2 + 2.
Right. It sounded incredibly smart, but it couldn't actually reason.
Exactly. But then Google DeepMind just announced that their AlphaProof Nexus system solved 9 open Urdu's problems.
And for the uninitiated, an Urdu's problem isn't just like a really tough high school calculus question, right?
No, not at all. So Paul Urdu's was this brilliantly eccentric mathematician. He offered cash prizes for solving his highly complex problems in discrete mathematics and graph theory.
Basically the foundational logic of networks.
Right, the stuff that dictates how cryptography works or how data routes across the internet. And 2 of the problems Google just solved, they have been sitting open, just completely baffling human geniuses for 56 years.
Wow.
And the crazy part is OpenAI just did the exact same thing a few days earlier, disproving an 80-year-old conjecture.
But wait, how did they actually fix the hallucination issue? Because you can't just, tell a language model to try harder at math.
No, you force a partnership.
Yeah.
They paired a massive LLM with a formal proof assistant called Lean.
Okay, what is Lean?
It's basically a programming language specifically designed to mechanically verify math proofs. It has zero intuition, but it strictly enforces the laws of logic.
Oh, I see.
So you take the LLM, which has this incredible intuition but constantly hallucinates, and you essentially handcuff it to lean.
So it's kind of like chaining a wildly creative, manic artist to this ruthlessly pedantic fact checker.
Yeah, the artist and the fact checker is close, but the scale makes it way weirder than that.
How so?
It's more like the artist throws a million canvases at the wall every single second, and the fact checker instantly burns the 999,999 that violate the laws of physics.
Oh, wow.
Right. The LLM generates a proof, the lean instantly spots the logical flaw, rejects it, and feeds the error back. And the LLM just iterates. It is this brute force machine speed evolution. And didn't this run for like practically nothing?
A few $100s in compute time, that's it.
See, that is the part that gives me vertigo. Half a century of human head scratching just solved for pocket change.
And it's not staying contained in theoretical math either.
Right. NVIDIA just released NV Generate MR Brain. They aren't even scanning humans anymore. They're generating completely synthetic, mathematically perfect 3D brain MRIs to train medical AI.
Which is a massive acceleration for healthcare. But then look at the cybersecurity application.
Oh, the Anthropic drop.
Yes, Project Glasswing. Their Claude Mythos model found over 10,000 high or critical severity vulnerabilities in a single month. Cloudflare ran it and found 2,000 bugs.
And the false positive rate actually beat their human security teams, didn't it?
It did. And Perplexity is jumping in too. Open sourcing Bumblebee to scan for risky packages and AI configs during supply chain incidents.
So we are talking about zero-day vulnerabilities here. Flaws in the software that nobody knows exist, meaning you literally have 0 days to patch them before a hacker exploits them.
Exactly. And Anthropic is finding them by the thousands. They've actually gated Mythos because they're terrified of misuse.
Well, I have to ask the uncomfortable question here then. If we can formalize and solve half-century-old math problems, and, unearth thousands of 0 days at machine speed, what exactly is the role of the human coder or scientist tomorrow?
That's the existential question, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, are we just the biological battery paying the electricity bill for the server farm?
I mean, the human role doesn't disappear, but it violently shifts from executor to director. The machine is this godlike engine, but it doesn't know where to drive.
Right, so we steer it.
Exactly. Humans have to define the problem space. We figure out which unproven theorem actually matters to physics or, what to do with a newly discovered protein fold. But the actual mechanical execution of the discovery, that is increasingly leaving our hands.
But, okay, here is the geopolitical friction in that reality. Because if this level of intelligence is practically free to generate, the only bottleneck left is the physical hardware it runs on.
Right, the chips.
Exactly, the chips. Which completely explains why Washington thought they could just kill foreign competition by choking off the hardware supply.
Yeah, that was the theory.
But looking at the market today, that strategy didn't just fail, it spectacularly blew up in their faces.
We really need to analyze this purely as a business and supply chain mechanism because the U.S. export control strategy was built on one singular premise.
Your tries.
Cut off China's access to NVIDIA's advanced extreme ultraviolet chips, choke their compute power, and just lock in American dominance at the frontier.
Right. It's like building a dam to starve them of water. But it turns out China just dug a deeper well.
A much deeper well.
Yeah, DeepSeek, which is this massive Chinese AI startup, just slashed the price on their V4 Pro model by 75%. They're now charging roughly 83 cents per million tokens.
Which is wild.
It is. It completely undercuts every single American frontier model by a ridiculous margin. But let me stop you there and push back a little.
Okay, go ahead.
Are we absolutely sure DeepSeek's price cut is because they actually solved the hardware problem? Couldn't the Chinese government just be eating massive financial losses to dump cheap AI on the market and bankrupt U.S. competitors?
It's a fair suspicion, but the underlying supply chain data actually points to genuine hardware success.
Really?
Yeah. DeepSeek previously priced V4 Pro really high, and they explicitly cited compute capacity constraints. Those constraints vanished overnight because Huawei's Ascend 950 supernodes successfully hit mass production.
Oh, wow.
By banning access to Western chips, the U.S. basically forced China to aggressively fund and build a completely self-sufficient domestic supply chain.
So Washington essentially subsidized the exact rival they were trying to crush.
Pretty much. And Huawei is already moving toward 1.4 nanometer chips by 2031.
Using that thing called Logic folding, right?
Yes, logic folding.
Explain that to me, because they still can't buy those massive ASML laser machines from the Netherlands to print the tiny transistors.
Right, they can't. ASML makes these multi-million-dollar optical marvels that use extreme ultraviolet light to shrink transistors down to the atomic level. China can't buy them.
So how are they getting around it?
Well, instead of shrinking the transistors horizontally on a flat 2D plane, logic folding builds vertically.
Oh, like a skyscraper.
Exactly like a skyscraper. They are stacking multiple layers of circuitry and completely redesigning how those layers talk to each other to manage the heat. It is an engineering workaround born out of absolute necessity.
Man. So while they are stacking circuits, the White House is apparently panicking. Today, they had to urgently approve $9 billion just to help U.S. spy agencies acquire advanced AI chips so they don't fall behind.
Yeah, the irony's thick.
It really is. So look at it this way. OpenAI and Anthropic are betting that you and I will pay a massive premium for the absolute best model. But DeepSeek is betting developers will pay almost nothing for a model that's, good enough running on sanctioned chips. Who actually wins that economic war?
Historically speaking, good enough and incredibly cheap almost always captures the global market over perfect and highly expensive.
That makes sense.
If you are a developer building an enterprise app and you can get 95% of the reasoning capability for literally 1% of the compute cost, you take the cheaper option. The true frontier of AI might remain in the US, but the actual global economy is going to operate on affordable, commoditized intelligence.
And we're seeing that sovereignty fracture everywhere, not just in chips. Like China just rolled out a national program assigning 17-digit digital IDs to humanoid robots.
Yeah, they're tracking them like citizens, all the way from the factory floor to the recycling plant.
And Tether is rolling out GLT, which is this government-backed stablecoin tied to the Georgian lari. The tech stack is totally decentralizing.
Right. In an attempt to centralize control of the future, the U.S. inadvertently catalyzed a multipolar technological world.
Okay, so the intelligence is brilliant, the chips are cheap, and this automation is just flooding into the global market. How is the actual human workforce reacting to this tidal wave?
Well, by lying through their teeth, mostly.
Yeah, let's look at the human morale crisis, because this is where the macroeconomics actually hit the cubicle.
Right. G-Check just published this study of 1,500 workers, and it is a portrait of intense, quiet desperation.
How are the numbers?
63% of workers admit they are actively exaggerating their AI skills to appear relevant.
And among Gen Z, it's even worse, right?
Oh, yeah. For Gen Z, who are arguably the most threatened by the automation of entry-level tasks, that number shoots up to 80%.
Which means if you are listening to this on your commute right now, statistically speaking, there is a very high chance you have a browser tab open at work that you are actively hiding from your manager.
Almost certainly.
Because, get this, 40% of workers say AI is already doing part of their jobs, but an astonishing 81% admit they actively discourage or limit using AI at work.
They are secretly reverting to manual labor?
Yes. Human Akavan, the CEO of G-Check, coined this term, double distortion.
It's a great term for it.
It perfectly captures it. The workforce is simultaneously overstating its AI abilities and performance reviews, while quietly undermining AI adoption in their actual daily tasks. They are choosing slower, manual labor entirely out of fear.
And you have to ask why. Why would someone intentionally do something the hard way?
Because of the mechanism of modern corporate management. Think about it. In most companies, if you use AI to condense 40 hours of data entry into 4 hours, your boss doesn't, give you Friday off to go to the park.
Right, they reward your efficiency with 36 more hours of work.
Exactly. Or worse, they fire the person sitting next to you. So you fake it, you pretend to use the AI, but you manually drag the work out to protect your livelihood.
The incentives are entirely perverse right now, and even the massive consulting giants are breaking under it.
Really? Like who?
Well, McKinsey is currently having to rethink its entire billing model because AI is actively destroying the value of the billable hour.
Oh, wow, of course.
If a junior analyst can do a week's worth of financial modeling in 10 minutes, you can no longer bill the client for the week. They're having to shift to outcome-based fees just to survive.
When your workforce is so terrified of automation that they are faking their AI usage while actively undermining its adoption, it is clear that forcing technology onto a company is not enough. You need true management infrastructure. We want to thank our sponsor, AIRA, for making today's briefing possible. ARA provides the enterprise-grade AI management platform that organizations need to turn raw AI potential into measurable, secure, and transparent workflow automation that actually helps your team. You can find their link in the show notes.
It's a really critical point. The friction right now isn't the capability of the tool. The friction is the survival instinct of the human.
Yeah, and that survival instinct isn't staying quiet in the office anymore. It is spilling out into the streets.
Oh, the backlash is getting real.
It is. We are seeing a profound social backlash, and it's wreaking the highest moral authorities on the planet. I mean, Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, was just on the Hard Fork podcast trying to explain away the fact that recent college graduates are actively booing AI at their commencements.
Yeah, and former Google CEO Eric Schmidt faced the exact same hostility at the University of Arizona.
And you can't really blame them. Unemployment among recent grads has hit a 4-year high. Companies simply aren't hiring for the entry-level analytical roles they used to.
It is a wild juxtaposition.
Right. In the morning, Google solves a half-century-old mathematical theorem. In the afternoon, college graduates and the Pope are begging us to pull the plug.
The Pope's statement was massive. Pope Leo XIV just issued a 42,300-word encyclical called Magnifica Humanitas.
That is not a casual tweet. That is a massive institutional directive.
It is arguably the most significant document on technology the Vatican has ever produced. He is explicitly calling for the global community to disarm AI.
Wow. And he doesn't just mean banning autonomous weapons, right?
No, he's warning against monopolistic control over human knowledge. But honestly, his sharpest critique is psychological. He warns that because AI can perfectly mimic human communication, it risks fundamentally eroding our desire to form genuine human connections.
See, I'm not totally buying the alarmism there.
You're not.
Well, are we just mistakenly projecting humanity onto a tool? We don't try to form emotional connections with our calculators. Why is this different?
Because your calculator doesn't speak to you in a warm, empathetic tone.
Fair point.
When a machine uses conversational language, it exploits a biological hack in the human brain. We are hardwired by evolution to assign consciousness and empathy to anything that communicates fluidly with us.
Even when we know it's just code.
Exactly. The machine is just a statistical model predicting the next word based on probability weights. It feels nothing. But the danger the Pope is highlighting is that if a lonely, exhausted workforce accepts a statistical model as a substitute for real connection, the social fabric dissolves.
We optimize perfectly for efficiency, but we starve for meaning. Which paints a pretty bleak picture. I mean, you listen to all of this, the geopolitical wars, the godlike logic, the Ob sound and the alarm, and you would naturally assume these machines are invincible, all-knowing overlords ready to replace us by Tuesday.
You would think that, yeah.
But then, if we step outside the digital realm of math proofs and corporate emails, and we put these systems into the messy physical world, they instantly look ridiculous.
Oh, this is the great humbling of the tech industry right now. Let's do a physical reality check.
Yes, let's talk about Waymo.
So this week, Waymo had to officially pause their robotaxi service in Atlanta, San Antonio, Dallas, and Houston.
4 major cities.
Yep. There is an active NHTSA recall with absolutely no software remedy in sight. And do you know why?
Because the cars completely freeze when they encounter flooded intersections.
They just stop.
I couldn't believe this when I read it. The industry spent tens of billions of dollars promising us a flawless, autonomous future, and their absolute Achilles heel is a puddle.
Just a puddle of water.
It's like a genius who can calculate the exact mass of the sun, but drowns on the sidewalk because they don't know how to step around standing water.
The mechanism of failure here is fascinating, though. Tesla bet entirely on visual cameras, and their cars have reportedly just rushed straight into lakes.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. But Waymo bet on a massive sensor stack, LiDAR, radar, cameras, and instead of driving into the water, the cars just paralyze themselves and block traffic for an hour.
So the frontier of autonomous driving isn't artificial general intelligence. It's literally just figuring out how a vehicle should interact with a 2-inch pool of dirty water.
Right, and it's causing chaos. A journalist detailed his attempt to take a Waymo to the Google I/O conference in Mountain View.
Oh, I read about this. It should have been, what, a standard 45-minute ride?
Yeah. But the Waymo encountered some irregular traffic routing, got completely overwhelmed, pulled into an empty Google parking lot, and basically trapped the guy.
It took 2 hours and cost $102.
Because the physical world is defined by infinite edge cases.
Right.
AI models thrive in closed systems. A math proof has defined rules. A chessboard has defined boundaries. But an unstructured environment, like a traffic cop using non-standard hand signals or a sudden detour through an unnamed back alley.
Or a puddle reflecting a stoplight.
Exactly. The machine cannot formalize the unpredictability of reality.
And it's not just driving either. Starbucks just completely scrapped their AI inventory system across North America.
After 9 months of trying to force it to work.
Yep, and why? Because the computer vision persistently miscounted and mislabeled products.
Just think about the physical dynamics of a stockroom. You've got overlapping cups, shifting shadows, a barista casually tossing a bottle of pumpkin spice syrup onto the wrong shelf.
Right. A human looks at that mess and instantly infers what happened.
But the AI looks at that mess, fails to recognize the overlapping barcodes, and completely breaks the supply chain.
So the exact same machine intelligence that can flawlessly disprove an 80-year-old mathematical conjecture cannot reliably count a stack of Frappuccino cups.
It perfectly illustrates the current dichotomy. The digital realm has been thoroughly conquered, pure logic is solved. But the physical realm remains fiercely resistant to being digitized.
Which really brings this whole autopsy into focus. We are living in a split reality.
We really are.
On one hand, AI has achieved machine speed discovery, completely scrambling global geopolitics to the point where U.S. sanctions are accidentally bankrolling incredibly cheap Chinese models.
Which nobody predicted.
Right. And that digital explosion has created a workforce so paralyzed by the fear of obsolescence that they are trapped in a double distortion, faking their AI proficiency while secretly doing the work by hand.
And you've got the Pope issuing encyclicals and college grads booing tech CEOs.
Exactly. And yet, for all that world-breaking digital power, the system still can't drive you through a rainstorm or count coffee beans.
We've engineered synthetic minds that can mathematically touch the stars, but they trip over the curb.
They really do. Which leaves me with a final thought for you to chew on today. We spend so much time stressing over how to outthink, outcode, and outanalyze these machines. But if AI is achieving godlike discovery in purely digital environments while failing spectacularly at basic physical tasks, perhaps the future of your labor isn't about trying to compete in the realm of pure logic.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Right. Perhaps your ultimate job security lies entirely in the physical, messy, unpredictable reality that simply cannot be formalized into a digital proof. The puddles and the misplaced coffee cups might just be our ultimate saving grace.
Long live the puddle.
Long live the puddle. Thank you for joining us for today's deep dive. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and we will catch you next time.
And before you go, if your company is building the tools that power the workflows we talked about today, I'd love to showcase them to this audience. We don't just run ads, we build technical simulations that prove your value. Let's build something together. Visit jamgamind.com/partners to get started. Until next time, keep building.